The room is quiet and dark, but your mind is loud. At 2 a.m., you find yourself replaying memories like old film reels, the laughter, the gentle words, the moment you first realized you loved them. Now, those moments are ghosts that haunt the empty side of your bed. You wonder why it's so impossible to let go. You tell yourself it's because your love was so deep, so true. How could anyone expect you to just move on from something that felt like the very fabric of your life? The pain is real. The longing is real. But what if the thing you're holding on to isn't? What if, without even realizing it, you're holding on to an illusion, not the person themselves, but the idea of them, the story of what could have been? Take a deep breath. This thought isn't meant to diminish your feelings. Your love felt real because it was real, your side of it at least. But perhaps what you can't let go of is not the reality of who they were, but the fantasy of who you wanted them to be for you. As the writer Anais Nin once said, "We don't see things as they are, we see them as we are." In love, we often don't see the other person objectively. We see the reflection of our own hopes, needs, and dreams projected onto them. We fall in love with the story our mind creates, and when that story is threatened, when reality doesn't match the dream, we suffer. We hold on tighter, not so much to them, but to the illusion. This is not a new discovery. Carl Jung, the great depth psychologist, noted that falling in love is often less about the other person and more about ourselves. He suggested that we are attracted to women who embody something from our unconscious, parts of ourselves that we are searching for. In Jung's terms, we may project our inner world onto someone else in an effort to feel whole. Think back to the early stages of love, how a woman can seem like an almost magical, idealized figure who perfectly matches our desires. You don't notice her flaws. You only see what you want to see, perhaps kindness, strength, or the answer to your loneliness. Jung would say you've cast your internal anima, or animus, an inner ideal image of a beloved, onto this real human being. In that honeymoon of projection, they didn't only exist as they are, they carried the weight of your fantasies and unmet needs. Over time, the projection inevitably begins to crack. Reality seeps in. The woman reveals aspects of her personality that do not match the ideal image in your imagination. Small disappointments, conflicts, or simply the revelation of her true nature begin to destroy the dream. It is at this moment that disappointment often sets in. Literally, the loss of illusion. You may feel shock, even betrayal. You are not who I thought you were. In fact, she was never that perfect. Your initial admiration was a figment of your imagination, a layer superimposed on reality. The danger, as Jung warned, is that we fall in love, not with the real person, but with our projection. And when these perceptions disappear, we find ourselves face to face with a stranger, or at least with a woman who is much more ordinary and human than the goddess we had imagined. It's a harsh awakening, and it hurts. But why does it hurt so much? If part of what we loved was an illusion, why do we feel devastated as if we lost something very real? The answer lies in those internal emotional projections and unmet needs. You see, we don't just project for fun. We do it because something inside us is crying out. We carry wounds and voids within our psyche, often from way back. A distant childhood loneliness, a need for approval we never got, a fear of abandonment lurking in our unconscious. When we met this woman, she may have illuminated the dark sides of ourselves. Perhaps she made you feel safer than you ever have before. Or she showered you with attention, temporarily healing your neglected inner child. Psychologists note that love can become an unconscious attempt to fill voids in our development. For example, someone who grew up feeling unlovable might be intensely drawn to a partner who offers constant affection. In the rush of this romance, you not only love her, but you also love yourself for who you become when you're with her. Caring, confident, complete. When this woman leaves or the relationship breaks down, it feels like you are losing a part of yourself. And in fact, that is exactly what is happening. Your identity has become so intertwined with hers. You have adapted to her habits, absorbed her interests, built your life around hers, and perhaps even defined your worth by how she perceived you. Over time, it's easy to confuse your sense of self with your partner's sense of self. So when she's gone, you ask yourself, who am I without her? The writer of one breakup memoir put it bluntly, I don't know who I am without them. And so many of us understand that disorienting feeling. Research in psychology has found that people's very self-concepts shrink during a breakup. It's like the boundaries of you suddenly contract. If someone asks you, what do you like? What do you want? You will be able to give fewer answers because for a long time, part of what you wanted was connected with her. It's no surprise that you feel lost. You're grieving not only for the relationship, but also for who you were when you were with her. This is why letting go can feel like an existential crisis. It's not pure romance or deep love alone that makes it hard. It's that your sense of self got entangled with the illusion. The mind clings, not just to the person, but to the identity it built around that person. The dream of a future, the role you played, the emotions that gave you purpose. If you felt needed and important when they held you, you might cling to the memory of that feeling, fearing that without them, you'll never feel that way again. If being their partner made you feel worthy, then losing them strikes at your self-worth. It feels like a piece of you is dying, and in a way, it is. The you that you were with them. But here's the hopeful part. The you that died is not gone forever. It's returning home. It was always yours. The love and worthiness you felt came from within you, reflected back by that relationship. Now that they're gone, it might feel like the mirror has shattered. But what's actually happening is an invitation to reclaim those parts of yourself. A breakup, as painful as it is also a chance, a brutal, involuntary chance, to rediscover who you are outside of anyone else. One psychologist said to look at it this way: you're mourning a lost piece of yourself, which shows how much of yourself you gave. Now, you have a chance to rebuild that self stronger. The way out of the identity crisis is to refocus on you. Think of the passions and interests that lit you up before this person entered your life, or the new ones you discovered but put aside. Pursue them again. It's not just cliched distraction. By doing this, you are rebuilding your self-concept, brick by brick.
Every time you try something you always wanted to, or return to a hobby you loved, you're reclaiming a piece of your soul that you thought was lost. Little by little, you find that you do exist without them, and not only exist, but can thrive and grow. Now, let's circle back to that idea of illusion versus reality in love, because understanding it can be profoundly liberating. It might sound cynical to say you loved an illusion, but consider it compassionately. Of course you did. We all do to some extent. Our brains are wired to fill in gaps, to imagine, to hope. When you fell in love, it activated your deepest yearnings, the desire to be seen, to be valued, to not be alone. It's like you cast a spell on yourself. The other person became a canvas for your desires, and in turn, you became a canvas for theirs. Both of you likely wore some masks in that early dance, showing your best face, hiding your fears. We fall in love with an ideal and slowly learn to love, or hate, a real human. It's why sometimes you hear someone say, "I miss who I thought he was," or "the person I loved isn't the person she turned out to be." They're acknowledging that schism between the fantasy and the reality. Sometimes that reality is painful. It could be as simple as growing apart, or as painful as betrayal. It might even be that the relationship was unhealthy or abusive, yet you still feel addicted to it. This is where the concept of trauma bonding comes in. A trauma bond is not love at all. It's a survival connection, a tie forged in a cyclone of pain and intermittent relief. Maybe they hurt you, then comforted you, over and over. The highs were so high that they overshadowed the lows. Your nervous system got used to the roller coaster, the fear, then the reward. Psychologically, it glues you to that person. You come to associate the very person causing your pain with the subsequent comfort that soothes it. In such a bond, letting go feels impossible because it's not just an emotional preference, it feels like an addiction. You crave the next high of their approval, even as you fear the next drop. A trauma bond forms when there's a cycle of abuse and positive reinforcement, creating emotional dependency. If that resonates with you, know that breaking a trauma bond is hard work. It involves recognizing the pattern, often with help from others, and allowing yourself to see that what you called love was in large part fear and need. It was the illusion that this person was your savior, when in reality, they were also the source of your wounds. So, how do we let go of all of this? How do we untangle the gorgeous, tragic tapestry of projection, unmet needs, identity, and genuine affection? Perhaps we start with a perspective shift, a philosophical one. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher-emperor, often reminded himself of the impermanence of things. He wrote in his Meditations, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." In other words, cherish what life gives you, but do not cling to it. Do not treat it as owned. This includes people we love. It doesn't mean we don't love deeply. It means we understand that we can't possess or control the outcome. Nothing truly belongs to us, not even the ones we cherish. We get to experience them, accompany them for a while, but we don't own them. Another Stoic, Seneca, used a beautiful metaphor. Regard everything that pleases you as if it were a flourishing plant. Make the most of it while it is in leaf. For different plants at different seasons must fall and die. The leaves will fall. Every relationship changes or ends because that is the nature of life. This isn't meant to be depressing. It's meant to highlight how precious each moment is, and that letting go is woven into love from the start. To love is to lose, one modern philosopher noted, meaning that every love carries the risk, no, the certainty of loss, whether through breakup, separation, or even death. We might avoid that truth in the blush of new love, but it remains, and accepting it, as hard as it is, can give us courage. It tells us, this is how life is for everyone. You're not broken for having to let go. You're simply human, living out one of life's deepest lessons. Buddhist philosophy arrives at a similar truth from a different angle. In Buddhism, the root of suffering is said to be attachment, clinging, grasping onto things, and people, and outcomes, as if they were permanent. The Buddha taught that everything is impermanent, and that our refusal to accept this causes us pain. Imagine holding a rope that's being pulled away. The tighter you grip, the more it burns your hands. The trick is to let go of the rope. Letting go in Buddhism isn't about denying your love or erasing memories. It's about releasing your grasp on them. One Buddhist teacher explained it beautifully with an object lesson. If you're holding a heavy object tightly and someone says, "Let it go," they don't mean throw it away. They mean open your hand, stop grasping. The object can continue to exist. You simply cease to clutch it desperately. In the same way, you don't have to hate the person or wipe out your past. You just allow things to be as they are. Through the practice of letting go, we realize that the origin of suffering, our attachment, can be laid aside. We set down the burden. We stop fighting reality, stop trying to force the story to have the ending we wanted. Detachment is sometimes misunderstood. It does not mean that you do not care. You may think, if I let go of my attachment, does that mean I never truly loved her? Not at all. In fact, true love and attachment are different. Attachment is sticky, grasping, self-referential. I need you to be this for me. True love, on the other hand, is expansive and freeing. It wants the best for the other, even if that doesn't benefit us. A Zen master, Thich Nhat Hanh, said,
You must love in such a way that the person you love feels free. That kind of love doesn't chain the beloved to our expectations or demands. This does not mean that her departure will not be painful, but it does mean that our love can transcend our personal desire to possess her. It allows us to say, "I want you to be happy, even if it's not with me." That is one of the purest, albeit most difficult, forms of love, and paradoxically, it heals the lover as well, because when you love that way, you free yourself too. You're no longer twisting yourself in knots trying to hold on to someone who isn't there. You're allowing the love to transform into an appreciation for what was, and a hope for the other's well-being, and ultimately, a gentle compassion for yourself as you move forward. Think of how the Stoics and Buddhists, separated by cultures and centuries, arrived at a similar wisdom. Hold lightly. Enjoy deeply, but hold lightly. In practice, what does this look like for you right now, in your sleepless nights and aching heart? This may mean that every time a wave of memories comes over you, you need to remind yourself, "She is not part of me." This means that you need to gently tell yourself that her role in your story may be over, but your story is not over yet. In fact, your story may just be entering a new chapter, a chapter in which you finally become the main character again, rather than giving that role to someone else. Yes, the letting go process is excruciating at first. It feels like tearing away a piece of your heart. You may feel anger towards her, towards yourself, towards all this injustice. You may be torn between desperate longing for her and bitter resentment towards her. Allow those feelings to flow without judgment. They are part of healing. But also step back and observe. Beneath the anger and pain, is there a fear? A fear that without this person, I am not lovable or I won't be happy. Challenge that gently, as a friend would, because that fear is also an illusion, a particularly cruel one your mind conjures in the void. The truth, the accessible truth that lies beyond all poetic metaphors, is that you are whole, with or without her. It's just that you don't feel whole right now, and that's okay. Sometimes, to let go, we have to confront our own shadows. Perhaps you realize you didn't just love them, you loved the way they made you feel about yourself. That's not a bad thing. It's human. Now you must find other ways to feel those things. To feel important, to feel beautiful, to feel safe. It might come from friends, from creative pursuits, from spiritual practice, or from therapy. All the healthy sources of self-regard that rebuild your identity on solid ground. Bit by bit, you differentiate between the love you felt for them and the deeper needs within yourself. You are learning to give yourself what you sought in the outside world. This is emotional differentiation, understanding that your emotions, although triggered by her, actually belong to you. The love was yours. It came from you and can return to you. The security or joy you felt also came from within, was catalyzed by the relationship, and was not solely bestowed upon you by her. As you do this, something miraculous happens. The illusion starts to fade. Not in a painful way, but peacefully. You begin to remember the relationship more holistically, not just the idealized highlights, but the full reality. You can acknowledge the ways it wasn't perfect, the moments you overlooked. That understanding is bittersweet, but it's real. And in reality, you can finally find closure. You can forgive her and yourself for not living up to your idealized expectations. You can mourn the loss of your dream and the loss of a true friendship, and then leave it in the past. Picture this. All this time, you've been white-knuckling a rope tied to a heavy weight, being dragged by the momentum of what once was. Letting go is the moment you finally open your hand. The rope slips through your fingers and the weight tumbles away. You might collapse to the ground and cry. That's okay. But then, finally, you can stand up. Your hands are free. You're free. The immediate feeling might be strange, a kind of emptiness where there was tension. That emptiness is scary because it's the space formerly filled by your obsession, your longing. But that space is also possibility. It's like a field after a storm, quiet and clear, ready for new growth. Emotional liberation doesn't come as a thunderous epiphany most times. It comes in small moments of clarity. Maybe one morning you'll wake up and realize that the first thought in your head isn't about her, and you'll smile, just a little bit. Or you find yourself genuinely laughing with a friend and catch yourself thinking, I feel okay right now. These are the signs that you're stepping into your transformation. The chains of the past are loosening. You may even feel gratitude. Gratitude for the good times you shared, and, oddly, even for the pain that taught you so much about yourself. You might recall Marcus Aurelius's wisdom that every loss is a chance to practice virtue, like resilience, acceptance, courage. You've been cultivating those virtues in the crucible of heartbreak, and they will stay with you long after the memories of the relationship fade. Imagine yourself like a phoenix, an ancient symbol used in many cultures, rising from ashes. The old identity that was intertwined with them has burned away, but you, the essential you, emerge intact and stronger. You carry forward the lessons that you can love someone deeply and still survive losing them, that your worth does not diminish just because someone failed to see it or couldn't hold on to it, that no matter how much it hurts to let go, it hurts worse to hold on to a mirage. In a gentle voice inside, you begin to rewrite your internal narrative, where once it said, I'll never get over them, it now says, I am moving forward, little by little. Instead of, I lost my other half, it says, I am finding myself again. This gentle restorying of your life is powerful. You are challenging the old narrative that you are incomplete without them, and replacing it with a truth. You were never half of a whole. You have always been whole. They didn't complete you, rather, they complemented you for a time. Now that they're gone, you are still complete, just adjusting to standing on your own. In this newfound peace, you might find that thinking of them no longer stabs with pain. Perhaps it evokes a slight sense of nostalgia, or maybe even a bit of warmth. You may wish her happiness in your heart. It is a sign that you have healed. You have completely let her go. Go, live your life. Thank you for what you gave me. I have let go of what never belonged to me. In doing so, you release yourself. The chains of yearning drop away. This doesn't mean you'll never love again. On the contrary, your heart, having let go, is now more experienced and perhaps more open to real love unclouded by illusion. You'll carry forward a better understanding of yourself, which means you can share yourself more honestly with someone new when the time is right. For now, as you end this chapter, take solace in the philosophical and psychological truths that guided us here. Marcus Aurelius lost many beloved people in his life, yet he consoled himself with the thought that life is change and loss is natural. Jung would remind you that what you loved in the other was something that lives in you, and you can reintegrate that back into your own soul. The Buddha would encourage you to loosen the grasp of attachment, to trust that by letting go, you are not giving up love, you are giving up suffering. And perhaps your own heart, wiser now, tells you that this was a journey you needed, that through the fire of this heartbreak, you have forged a stronger self. In the end,
Letting go of someone you loved is one of the bravest things you'll ever do. It is an emotional release and a personal transformation. You are no longer the same person who started watching this video 20 minutes ago, and you will not be the same person tomorrow or next week. You are evolving, healing, growing. There will be days when you regress, when the pain surges. Be kind to yourself then. Healing is not linear, but trust that with each passing day, each small act of self-reclamation, each gentle reminder that peace lies in acceptance, you are moving closer to freedom. The illusion fades, and reality, however imperfect, becomes something you can embrace. And reality has a beauty of its own. It is honest and unfiltered, and it is yours. So, step by step, untie the knots binding you to the past. Feel the liberation in your soul as you realize that by letting go of what was never truly yours to hold, you are not losing yourself, you are finding yourself. In place of the old, painful longing, there's now space. Space for new experiences, for genuine connections, for self-love and inner peace. Where there was an ache, new strength grows. Where there was longing, new freedom dawns. The nighttime whispers of, "Why can't I let go?" slowly turn into morning whispers of, "I can face this day. I am going to be okay." You are going to be more than okay. You are going to be empowered by this. In time, you'll look back and see this heartbreak as a teacher. You'll know that you loved deeply, and that's a beautiful thing, even if it was for a season. You'll also know that you survived the ending, and in doing so, you learned to love yourself deeply as well. The gentle challenge now and always is to remember, the love you had is not lost. It has simply changed form. It lives on in you. In your memories, yes, but also in your capacity to care, to empathize, to connect. And now, freed from illusion, that love can be directed in healthier ways, towards those who are truly there for you, and most importantly, towards the person who will always be with you, your own precious self. In this understanding, there is a profound peace. A peace that comes from embracing reality, from releasing the grip on what we cannot control, and from discovering that letting go is not the same as losing. It is, in fact, gaining back your life. One day, perhaps sooner than you think, you'll wake up and the air will feel different, lighter. You'll realize that your heart feels free, free to remember without anguish, free to hope without desperation, free to love again without the chains of past ghosts. This is the gift that awaits on the other side of letting go: emotional liberation, inner transformation, and the quiet, unshakable knowledge that you are whole and you are enough. Keep going. You're doing beautifully. Peace is on its way to you.